The Mystery of Rudolph Fentz, a time traveler lost in time. New York City, 1950. The bustling streets are alive with the honking of yellow taxis, the chatter of hurried pedestrians, and the neon glow of countless advertisements. But one evening, amidst the urban rush of Times Square, something deeply unusual happens. A man appears out of nowhere, confused, startled, and completely out of place. He is dressed in 19th-century attire, complete with a high-collared coat, button boots, and mutton chop sideburns. Witnesses describe his look as antiquated, his expression as bewildered, and his demeanor as completely lost. Within moments, the man steps onto the road and is fatally struck by a speeding taxi. When authorities examine his body, they uncover a mystery that has baffled investigators, historians, and conspiracy theorists alike for decades. The victim carried with him several strange items: a copper token for a beer, bearing the name of a saloon no one had ever heard of, a bill for the care of a horse and the washing of a carriage, issued by a stable on Lexington Avenue, an establishment that had ceased to exist long ago, a letter postmarked in June 1876 from Philadelphia, and most perplexingly, business cards identifying him as Rudolph Fentz. But there were no modern-day records of anyone by that name. Detectives soon launched an investigation into the mysterious stranger. They traced his address to an area that, in 1950, had long since been transformed into commercial buildings. Inquiries about him turned up nothing: no employment records, no family ties, no bank accounts. It was as though he had never existed. Yet, further research led detectives to an astonishing discovery. In old census records dating back to the late 19th century, there was indeed a man named Rudolph Fentz, a resident of New York City, who had mysteriously disappeared one evening in 1876. The records described him as a man in his late 20s who had gone out for a routine evening stroll one summer night and never returned home. There were no reports of a struggle, no signs of abduction. He had simply vanished into thin air, leaving his family distraught and clueless as to his fate. The deeper the detectives dug, the stranger the case became. The details of the 1876 disappearance perfectly matched the physical description of the man who had died in 1950. The clothing, the belongings, even the name, all aligned. It was as if Rudolph Fentz had somehow skipped forward in time by 74 years, only to tragically meet his demise moments after arriving in the future. The baffling nature of the case led to a flurry of speculation. Some claimed it was the result of an elaborate hoax, while others saw it as undeniable proof of time travel. Could it be possible that Rudolph Fentz had unknowingly stepped through a rift in time, transporting him from 1876 to 1950 in an instant? If so, had similar cases occurred without being noticed? Was time travel not just the stuff of science fiction but a phenomenon lurking beneath the surface of reality? Skeptics argue that the story is nothing more than an urban legend, pointing out that no official police records from 1950 confirm the existence of Rudolph Fentz. The tale, they claim, originated from a science fiction short story written by Jack Finney in 1951, which somehow became confused with reality over time. However, believers counter this argument by suggesting that real events might have inspired Finney's story. They argue that the government could have erased official records to cover up what they were not prepared to explain. Further deepening the enigma is the fact that similar cases of supposed time slips have been reported throughout history. People have described stepping through doorways and emerging in different centuries, spotting modern-day structures in ancient times, or encountering figures from the past who seem just as startled as they are. Could the story of Rudolph Fentz be one of many incidents that hint at cracks in the fabric of time itself? Some researchers believe quantum physics might hold the key to understanding such anomalies. Theories of parallel universes, wormholes, and distortions in the space-time continuum suggest that time travel may not be entirely impossible. If such rifts do exist, could individuals like Rudolph Fentz have accidentally stumbled into them? And if so, could there be others, trapped in times not their own, wandering through history unnoticed? More recently, there have been reports of similar cases, accounts of individuals appearing in the wrong time, confused and unaware of how they arrived there. Some vanish just as mysteriously, while others leave behind fragments of their existence, much like Fentz. Could there be hidden records of countless others lost in time? If so, what force governs these inexplicable events, and could humanity ever harness the ability to control them? The case of Rudolph Fentz remains one of the most debated unsolved mysteries of modern times. Was he an unfortunate victim of a cosmic glitch, a time traveler thrust forward without warning, or simply the creation of an imaginative mind? Though the answers may never be known, His story endures, a chilling reminder that sometimes, reality is stranger than fiction. And perhaps, somewhere in the shadows of time, more mysteries like his await discovery, lost in the corridors of history, just waiting for the right moment to resurface. Could you be the next witness to a traveler out of time? Perhaps, the past is not as far away as we think. Perhaps, even now, someone from another era walks among us, unknowingly displaced, a living echo of a forgotten time, just waiting for the truth to be uncovered. What if, at this very moment, another individual from the past is preparing to make an unexpected arrival in our present? Will we recognize them when they do? Or will they too be lost in the tide of history, another riddle left unsolved for future generations to ponder?